So, let's summarise again. First of all, does that look like a good exit? Look at that. What does that mean? Exit, not an exit. What's that all about? Right, again, summarise. What's the first thing you should do on discovering a fire? Raise the alarm. What's the first thing you should do on hearing the fire alarm? You go to your assembly point. Don't forget that. You go to your assembly point. And every time in your workplace, when that fire alarm goes off, you must assume it's a fire until you confirm it's a false alarm. Do not assume it's a false alarm until you confirm it's a fire. Critical is attitude towards evacuation. That completes this section. Now I'm going to move on to the nature and hazards of fire, all about fire and how it spreads in buildings. Now the next area I'm going to cover is the nature of fire. As a fire warden, you should appreciate the dangers of fire. So that's what I'm going to cover now. Now for a fire you need three things. What do you need? First of all, you need heat. You also need fuel. And you also need oxygen. Fuel, heat and oxygen give you fire. And therefore there's three ways of putting out a fire, isn't there? What are they? What are the three ways of putting out a fire? Have a guess. First of all, you can smother, stir, starve it, or fuel, or you can cool it, remove the heat. That is the three ways. And that's what fire extinguishers do. Fire extinguishers remove one of those three things. Smothering, starving and cooling. Now you are aware that you can't just use any extinguisher on any type of fire. You've got to make sure you've got the right extinguisher for the right class of fire. And there's 5 types of classes of fire. Class A is solids, which is wood, paper and textile. Class B is liquids, which is petrols, oils and paints. Class C, gases, which is pipe, domestic gas, mains gas or acetylene. Class D are metals, which are sodium, potassium and magnesium. Generally you won't have these in the workplace. These are specialist fire extinguishers which you need for special fires. And Class F is fires involving fats and cooking oils. Now people say to me, where's the E? There's no E. Well, there's no E because electrical, in some standards they call E electrical. However, fire extinguishers don't. Why? Because electricity can't burn. You can't burn electricity. It's electrons moving in a wire. Electricity starts a fire and it's a hazard in a fire, but it can't actually burn physically. That's why there's no E. If it's a fire electrical, what you'll see is you'll see a little lightning bolt on a fire extinguisher. Now what do you do if something electrical is on fire? Well, first of all, you isolate. Turn it off. If it catches fire, you turn it off. If safe to do so, don't burn your eyebrows to get down there. Once you've isolated it, what type of fire extinguisher can you use on electrics? Well, in this case, it is CO2 or powder. CO2 or powder. If you put water on it, you look like that. Okay? That's the morning look. You know in the morning when your face has been dribbling, your hair's like that. You know that look I mean? Right then, what's the suitable media for these different fires then? What can you use on a Class A fire? Class A, water in the form of jet or spray. Can you use foam on a bin fire, a bit of paper in a bin? Yes? Yes you can. Powder? Yes. CO2 on a bin fire, is that a good idea? No. What happens if you put CO2 on a bin fire? Spreads it everywhere. Okay? What about petrol? What would you put on petrol? First of all, CO2 or powder can be used. The best is foam. And the foam they use nowadays in all these extinguishers is called AFFF. And that stands for aqueous film forming foam. It forms a film on top of the fuel. That's how it works. Aqueous film forming foam. It forms a film on top of the fuel. Very effective. Can you use water on petrol? No. What do you do with gas involved in fire then? Gas. Turn it off. Isolate it. What happens if you don't know where the isolator is? What should you do? Run! Get out of there, shut the door, call the fire brigade out. If it's burning. Class D, what can you use? Well, Class D metals, which is sodium, potassium or magnesium, use special extinguishers, and this is called TEC dry powder. You've got dry sand, if you can find any. Dry sand in the UK, yeah, we'll have that. Or powdered limestone. The main one is the TEC dry powder. Special extinguishers which fuse on top of it. And Class F is a fry fighter extinguisher. There's a special extinguisher designed for chip pans. Now, chip pan fires. When do people most fancy chips? When do they most fancy chips? I'll tell you when they fancy chips, mate. When they get back from the pub, don't they? They get back, I fancy some chips. They put a chip pan and put a video on, what happens? It catches fire. What do they generally do then? Do you know what they do, most people? They pick it up and they run round the house showing people it. What do I do? What do I do? We had one guy, he opened a window on a windy day with a chip pan fire. He threw it out on a windy day. What happened? It blew back all over him. Another guy opened the back door, threw it out the door. It led to a path. A guy was walking past, it set fire to his legs. How unlucky is that? People generally run around with the chip pan fires. People panic. You might panic. Don't. Chip pan fires. A young lad on my course lived in a yuppie flat. First floor flat with a balcony. His chip pan caught fire. The first thing he thought was, get it out of my flat. He grabbed it, ran to the balcony, first floor, balcony. He was going to throw it over. He looked down, they're having a barbecue below him. He went, He put it back. I said, why don't you just put it on the floor? He said, I nearly threw it over. Can you imagine if you were sunbathing down below? What a lovely day. And somebody chucks oil all over you. How unlucky is that? What happens if you couldn't get the barbecue going? I can't get it going. You turn round. Chip pan fires are dreadful. And can you imagine what cooking oil does to your skin if you get it on your skin? A lot of people get injured with chip pan fires. A lot of people. Few cases. Cooking oil. We knew somebody that worked in a chip shop. She stood on a chip, just slipped on a chip, put her arm out into the fryer. Well, another one making donuts, these donut machines, dropped the tongs in the oil, oops, arm, just, grabbed it. It was like a reaction, put one hand in. Worst one ever, a young lad with a chip pan fire. He picked it up, he panicked, he ran outside and he tripped up. Now, am I trying to frighten you? Yes, I am. I'll be honest with you, don't have chip pans. Very, very dangerous. Now, do you know how hot cooking oil gets when it catches fire? Well, 450 degrees Celsius. That is the auto-ignition temperature for cooking oil. It's got to get to 450 degrees. When it's burning in full intensity, you're looking at 600 degrees. 600 degrees that oil's at, and you're running around with it. That gets on your skin. Can you imagine what it does to your skin? I mean, boiling water's bad enough. If I boiled a kettle now and poured it on my arm, would it hurt me? Would it hurt me? No. I'm hard. I'm from Leeds. We don't feel temperatures in Leeds, you know what I mean? It'd hurt, wouldn't it? It'd hurt you. What does cooking oil do to you? To the bone. This is what happens if you put water on a chip pan. Watch this. You put water on, watch this. Why? What's the boiling point of water? 100. How hot's the cooking oil? 600. 1 cup of water into a deep fat fryer turns into 1,000 cups of steam. It explodes. Do not put water anywhere near cooking oil. Now, they have developed a new extinguisher for deep fat fries. It's called the Fry Fighter. And this video here is going to show you how it operates.
4, 3, 2, 1.
What colour are the fire extinguishers now? Because as a fire warden, you should know the colours of extinguishers. Now, they're all red now, aren't they? Why are they all red? Europe made us make them red. In Spain, they're red. In Greece, they're red. Everywhere, they're red. Someone said to me, yeah, well, that's no good to me, because in Spain, I don't know what the Spanish for water is. I said, what do you want to know that for? You're on holiday. Don't start fighting fires on holiday. They're all red. However, in this country, we kept 5% the old colour. That's why they're called the BSEN3 number. That's the colour. So it's not the colour of the extinguisher, it's the colour of the label. So have a guess what a water extinguisher, what colour is it? Red. What colour is a foam extinguisher? Cream. What does AFFF stand for? Can you remember? AFFF? That's right, it's aqueous film forming foam. It forms the film on top of the fuel. What colour is a dry powder? Blue, and it's called French blue. Don't ask me why, it's called French blue. What colour is a CO2? Black. So a red extinguisher with a black label is CO2. People keep saying to me, I can't remember the colours, I can't remember. If you can't remember the colours as a fire warden, if you can't remember the colours, what are you going to do? Read it. It says on the tin. Water. Powder. Someone says to me, look mate, you ain't got time to read the label. I tell you what, if you haven't got time to read that label, should you be fighting the fire? No. Read the label. Someone says to me, what if you can't read? If you can't read and you can't remember the colours, don't use it. The rule is, if you don't know what's in it, you don't squeeze it. That's the rule. If you don't know what's in it, Don't squeeze it. Someone on the course said to me, why don't the manufacturers of fire extinguishers consider someone who is blind and put braille on a fire extinguisher? Water, powder, where's the fire? And I said on that course I'd never train a person that could not see how to use a fire extinguisher. And that person did say to me, I could do you for discrimination. I said, no, you couldn't. It's not safe. What kills most people in fires? What kills most people? People don't burn to death. People die from smoke inhalation. That's what kills most people, smoke. And that's what'll kill you. What do people do when there's smoke in a room? If it's thin smoke, they walk around in it. Have you noticed? They go around going, can you smell that burning? It's quite bad, isn't it? Yeah, it's a fire. Get out of the room. People just smell it and carry on walking in it. If I set fire to a chair, do you know how many gases a chair would give off in a fire? How many toxic gases? Well, I'll tell you now, 600 different gases. I'm going to go through them now. Have you got a pen handy? Get a pen out. I'm going to go through them all now. First of all, hydrogen cyanide. You breathe it in, a couple of whiffs of it, down you go, 3 minutes and you're brain dead. Hydrogen cyanide. You breathe it in, a couple of whiffs of it. Carbon monoxide. You breathe it in, down you go, 3 minutes and you're brain dead. Hydrogen chloride. You breathe it in, it burns your lungs filled with water, down you go, 3 minutes and you're brain dead. Are you aware of the dangers of smoking a fire?